countries having a satellite for studying the sun. Till today, 15 terabit scientific data we have received, and we have put for the entire scientific community. And it was SpaceX docking experiment. January 16 was a historical day. We have successfully docked the 2 satellites rotating with 28,400 kilometers per hour. And India becoming one among 4 countries demonstrating that great technology today. And 29th January 2025 was another historic day. The 100th launch vehicle mission was successfully and precisely accomplished from India, and we are written in the golden letters of Indian space history. The 100th launch was the perfect success. And then comes to the NISR launch. NISR launch, as far as ISRO is concerned, it is a prestigious launch. Why it is a prestigious launch? 1963, November 21st, USA gave a tiny rocket for us to launch. And August 1st, 1975, we wanted to demonstrate mass communication through satellite technology. And 2,400 television sets were kept in 6 states in 2,400 villages. For that, a signal, satellite signal was given by USA. Truly, we were 60 years behind advanced countries in the space program at that point of time. Last month 30th, the NISR satellite, NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar satellite. The L-band payload was realized by JPL NASA, and S-bands are by ISRO. The entire satellite was built by ISRO, and it was launched perfectly, successfully within 2 kilometer dispersion by Indian launcher, the GSLV Mark II vehicle. And today, dear friends, a country which was 60 years behind advanced spacefaring nations, we are rubbing shoulder to shoulder with the developed nations. And we are going to have a communication satellite of 6,500 kg, USA-built communication satellite, which is going to be launched within a couple of months. That speaks volume. When it comes to Honorable Prime Minister of our country, he is a different person with great tangential thinking. The vision, direction given by him, based on his vision, we are going to have a Chandrayaan-4 mission. We are going to have a Venus orbiter mission. We are going to have a space station called BAS. By 2035, India will have a space station on its own, and the first module will be lifted off by 2028. And he has given approval for a NGLV, next generation launcher. And next generation launcher configuration little bit we have modified. The first launcher which lifted off from Indian soil, the SLV-3, the project director was none other than APJ Abdul Kalam, and done under the leadership role of Professor Satish Dhawan. That capability of the vehicle was hardly 35 kg to low Earth orbit. I don't underestimate capability. At that point of time, it was a great capability. And the lift-off mass of the rocket was 17 tons. From that, we have moved gradually, step by step. Today, we have conceived a rocket to take 80,000 kg to low Earth orbit, and a 40-story height rocket with 2,600-ton capability, lift-off mass capability, powered by 27 240-ton locksmith engine. What a significant and great progress. And dear friends, lot of new technologies we have demonstrated this year. The semi-cryo propulsion system, we have made breakthrough. The test stand was declared to the country by Honorable Prime Minister of India in 2023. We have completed almost 7 tests in that test stand. High thrust electric propulsion, lot of things are done. And finally, yes, satellite launch vehicle, everything is meant for application for the common man of this country. And application, we are doing outstanding work. There are 55 applications. And we had a national meet after 10 years. Yesterday we have concluded, and that has given a direction, guideline for the application, including sat communication, satellite navigation, and earth observation for the country. We conducted based on the direction of Honorable Prime Minister Chintan Shivir. He has given the vision for 2047. We have written the roadmap how to achieve that vision. Also how to take the space program up to 1962, being the 100 years of ISRO, Indian space program. We have charted out the entire program. Today everything is going to be released here. The theme of today's space program, Space Day celebration, from Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, which pays tributes to the progress achieved by our ancient astronomers and mathematicians. Over the decades, we have mastered a lot of technologies in the space program. In nutshell, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister and able guidance of our Minister of State, and we have got the principal scientific advisor to PM. He gives then and there necessary direction and guideline. Also, the Space Commission members are here. IIC Director is here. And Kiran Kumar sir could not participate. And with all their guideline, vision, and the strong foundation made by the former leaders of ISRO, and the contribution of each and every one of you, I would like to say by 2040, India will be, based on the direction of Prime Minister, we are going to land on the moon, the crewed mission will be on the moon, and we are going to bring back safely. Thereby, 2040, Indian space program will be in par with any other spacefaring nations, in terms of launcher, in terms of human spaceflight program, in terms of application, in terms of satellite, everything will be in par. Thanks to the entire leaderships. And coming to my role, I think I am not going to dwell much. First of all, let me welcome Honorable Minister for this very, very important National Space Day function. Let us welcome him. Let me welcome all the 4 Gaganyatris who is on the stage for this function. Let me also welcome IN-Space Chairman. Let me welcome the former Chairman, Mr. Somnath, who was leading the role during the last Space Day celebration. He is with us. Let us welcome him. Let us welcome our PSA, Principal Scientific Advisor, who is with us. He is going to give the keynote speech. Let us welcome IIC Director, who is the Space Commission member for this function. Let us welcome the senior secretaries, including Secretary, Science and Technology, and other secretaries for this very, very important function. Let me also welcome all the directors, unit directors, center directors, program directors, project directors, and all ISRO team for this function. When I welcome all of you, I will fail my duty unless I welcome all the family members who are here. Not everybody, a couple of family members are there. But for their support, surely we cannot perform well. I think Suklaji also totally agreed with me. Without Madam support, he cannot perform well. And without my wife's support, surely I cannot perform well. That you all agree. So let us welcome all of them for this function. And very, very important team, which I have to acknowledge, is the Prime Minister's Office, PMO team, represented by Mr. Vipin Kumar. I think he is here in the front. And PMO strongly give clear direction. Whenever we little bit deviate here and there are clear directions, guidelines. So let me also thank them for their outstanding contribution. They are part of us, and we are part of them, and we are taking the program together. So with this, there are young students. You are the future leaders. Surely India will become a developed country by 2047. And based on the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, I request all of you to think tangentially and think how to contribute to make this country as a developed country, and request you to contribute whatever way it is possible. Thank you. Let me once again welcome each and every one of you for this second National Space Day celebration. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring words of welcome, and also for walking us through the luminaries who have led from the front in all of India's historic space missions and all the missions for the future. Your address is set the perfect tone for today's celebrations. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now honored to welcome to the podium Dr. Pavan Kumar Goenka, Chairman IN-Space, a Padma Shri awardee and former Managing Director of Mahindra & Mahindra. Dr. Goenka has been the architect of India's modern space reforms, from spearheading the journey of India's private sector to liberalizing FDI norms, and from nurturing startups to launching the decadal vision. His leadership has transformed India's space sector into a very vibrant, globally competitive ecosystem where India's space story has become a shared national endeavor. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome, since he's already at the podium, Dr. Pavan Goenka.
Minister of State for Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Secretary DOS and Chairman ISRO, Dr. V. Narayanan, the Gaganyatris, friends. Let me extend my personal welcome to the second edition of National Space Day. After the inspiring and energizing speech by Dr. V. Narayanan, there's nothing more for me to add, but I've been given 3 minutes, so I will take those 3 minutes. If you look at last year, in our first National Space Day till today, tremendous progress has been made in the space sector, both from ISRO and from the private sector. Dr. Narayanan talked about various things that have happened in the last year and even before, such as SpaceX, NISAR, this human space flight, that is XM4, and the 100th launch that happened. Very energizing to see the Vision 2047 that has been put together, and there's a panel later on in the afternoon on the Vision 2047, and I think those who have not been involved with it will simply be impressed to see what are the aspirations that we have set for the space sector in the next 22 years. And what you see is further maturing of the private sector. The number of things that have happened in the last year, too long a list to cover, but companies like Agnikul, Skyroot, Anand Technologies, Pixel, Dhruva Space, Bellatrix, Digantra, TSL, XT-Links, they've all made significant progress along with 300 other startups that have come around. And if you go out and look at the 24 exhibits, you will get a feel, and compare that to last year, you'll get a feel for how far we have come in just 12 months. 3 specific big-ticket items that have happened, which will define the role of private sector in space, are assignment of the 89-degree east spectrum or orbit slot to ATL. And ATL is now working on launching the first privately owned space communication satellite in about 3.5 years at an expense or investment of more than 2,500 crores, the largest single investment by private sector in space. Second is the technology transfer of SSLV. Again, for the first time ever, other than Space Agency of India would be making or owning a complete launch vehicle. And third is awarding the EO constellation to the consortium led by Pixel. And again, all the 4 companies are outside, and they'll be investing more than 1,200 crores to set up this constellation. All of these were done through a bidding process, and the zero bid of Pixel consortium is talk of the town, that how can somebody bid zero when the government is offering 350 crores. And to me, it's a very big statement of the confidence that the private sector has in the future opportunities in space. And we feel very, very positive about what lies ahead for us with this kind of enthusiasm that private sector is showing in the space sector. The task of ISRO and InSpace is to make sure that these 3 initiatives of private sector become successful, and we have to do everything that we can and we will to help them succeed. There are many opportunities that have been identified yesterday with National Meet 2.0. And as I said yesterday, that will keep us busy for the next 5 years to deliver on all the expectations of various government departments and the states. Let me conclude by assuring our Honorable Minister that the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of private sector playing an important role and is becoming a reality, with unwavering support from you, sir, for that Prime Minister's vision. And I also thank my ISRO colleagues for fully supporting InSpace in fulfilling our mandate to help private sector play a big role in space. Again, thank you very much for being here today, and you will go back with a lot more excitement about the space sector in India, as Dr. Narayanan had just pointed out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Goenka, for that very compelling address. And ladies and gentlemen, on this momentous occasion, we're also very privileged to hear from the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. His vision has been the guiding force in positioning space as a cornerstone of national development and a driver of global collaboration. So let us all now listen to his special message for the second National Space Day celebrations.
केंद्रीय कैबिनेट के साथी, इसरो और स्पेस सेक्टर के सभी वैज्ञानिक एवं इंजीनियर्स और मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आप सभी को नेशनल स्पेस डे की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। इस बार स्पेस डे की थीम है आर्यभट्ट से गगनयान तक। इसमें अतीत का आत्मविश्वास भी है और भविष्य का संकल्प भी है। आज हम देख रहे हैं इतने कम समय में ही नेशनल स्पेस डे हमारे युवाओं में उत्साह और आकर्षण का अवसर बन गया है। ये देश के लिए गर्व की बात है। मैं स्पेस सेक्टर से जुड़े सभी लोगों को, वैज्ञानिकों को, सभी युवाओं को नेशनल स्पेस डे की बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। अभी भारत ने इंटरनेशनल ओलंपियाड ऑन एस्ट्रोनॉमी एंड एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स उसकी मेजबानी भी की है। इस कंपटीशन में दुनिया के 60 से ज्यादा देशों से लगभग 300 युवाओं ने हिस्सा लिया। भारत के युवाओं ने मेडल भी जीते। ये ओलंपियाड स्पेस सेक्टर में भारत की उभरती लीडरशिप का प्रतीक है। साथियों, मुझे खुशी है कि युवा साथियों में स्पेस के प्रति रुचि बढ़ाने के लिए इसरो द्वारा भारतीय अंतरिक्ष हैकाथॉन और रोबोटिक्स चैलेंज जैसी पहल भी की गई है। मैं इन प्रतिस्पर्धाओं में हिस्सा लेने वाले स्टूडेंट्स और विजेताओं को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, स्पेस सेक्टर में एक के बाद एक नए माइलस्टोन गणना, ये भारत और भारत के वैज्ञानिकों का स्वभाव बन गया है। 2 साल पहले ही भारत पहला ऐसा देश बना था जिसने चंद्रमा के साउथ पोल पर पहुंचने का इतिहास रचा। हम स्पेस में डॉकिंग, अनडॉकिंग की क्षमता रखने वाले दुनिया के चौथे देश भी बन गए हैं। अभी 3 दिन पहले ही मेरी ग्रुप कैप्टन शुभांशु शुक्ला से मुलाकात हुई है। उन्होंने इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन पर तिरंगा फहराकर हर भारतीय को गर्व से भर दिया। जब वो तिरंगा मुझे दिखा रहे थे, वो जो पल थी, जो अनुभूति थी, वो शब्दों से परे है। ग्रुप कैप्टन शुभांशु से हुई चर्चा में मैंने नए भारत के युवा के असीम हौसले और अनंत सपनों को देखा है। इन सपनों को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हम भारत का एस्ट्रोनॉट पूल भी तैयार करने जा रहे हैं। मैं आज स्पेस डे पर अपने युवा साथियों को भारत के सपनों को उड़ान देने के लिए इस एस्ट्रोनॉट पूल से जुड़ने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं। साथियों, आज भारत सेमी क्रायोजेनिक इंजन और इलेक्ट्रिक प्रोपल्शन जैसी ब्रेक थ्रू टेक्नोलॉजी में तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहा है। जल्द ही आप सब वैज्ञानिकों की मेहनत से भारत गगनयान की उड़ान भी भरेगा और आने वाले समय में भारत अपना स्पेस स्टेशन भी बनाएगा। अभी हम मून और मार्स तक पहुंचे हैं। अब हमें गहरे अंतरिक्ष में उन हिस्सों में भी झोंकना है जहां मानवता के भविष्य के लिए कई जरूरी रहस्य छिपे हैं। बियॉन्ड गैलेक्सीज लाइज अवर होराइजन। साथियों, अनंत अंतरिक्ष हमें हमेशा ये एहसास दिलाता है कि वहां कोई भी पड़ाव अंतिम पड़ाव नहीं है। मैं मानता हूं स्पेस सेक्टर में पॉलिसी लेवल पर भी कहीं कोई आखिरी ठहराव नहीं होना चाहिए। और इसलिए मैंने लाल किले से कहा था, हमारा रास्ता रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म और ट्रांसफॉर्म का रास्ता है। इसलिए बीते 11 वर्षों में देश ने स्पेस सेक्टर में एक के बाद एक लगातार बड़े रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं। एक समय था जब स्पेस जैसे फ्यूचरिस्टिक सेक्टर को देश में अनेक पाबंदियों से बांध दिया गया था। हमने इन बेड़ियों को खोला। हमने प्राइवेट सेक्टर को स्पेस टेक में परमिशन दी। और आज देखिए, देश में 350 से ज्यादा स्टार्टअप्स स्पेस टेक के इनोवेशन और एक्सेलरेशन का इंजन बनकर उभर रहे हैं। इस कार्यक्रम में भी उनकी बढ़ चढ़ करके उपस्थिति दिख रही है। हमारे प्राइवेट सेक्टर द्वारा बनाया गया पहला PSLV रॉकेट भी जल्द ही लॉन्च किया जाएगा। मुझे खुशी है कि भारत की पहली प्राइवेट कम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट भी बनाई जा रही है। पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप के जरिए अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन सैटेलाइट कॉन्स्टलेशन भी लॉन्च करने की तैयारी है। आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं, स्पेस सेक्टर में भारत के युवाओं के लिए बहुत बड़ी संख्या में अवसर बनने जा रहे हैं। साथियों, मैंने 15 अगस्त को लाल किले से ऐसे अनेक क्षेत्रों का जिक्र किया था जिसमें भारत को आत्मनिर्भर होना बहुत जरूरी है। मैंने हर सेक्टर को अपने लक्ष्य तय करने को कहा है। आज स्पेस डे के दिन मैं देश के स्पेस स्टार्टअप से कहूंगा, क्या हम स्पेस सेक्टर में अगले 5 वर्षों में 5 यूनिकॉर्न खड़े कर सकते हैं? अभी हम भारत की धरती से साल में 5-6 बड़े लॉन्च देखते हैं। मैं चाहूंगा कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर आगे आए और अगले 5 साल में हम उस स्थिति में पहुंचे कि हर साल 50 रॉकेट लॉन्च कर पाए, हर सप्ताह एक। इसके लिए देश को जिन नेक्स्ट जन रिफॉर्म की जरूरत है वो करने का सरकार का इरादा भी है और इच्छा शक्ति भी है। मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाता हूं, सरकार हर कदम पर आपके साथ खड़ी है। फ्रेंड्स, भारत स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी को साइंटिफिक एक्सप्लोरेशन के साथ ही ईज ऑफ लिविंग का भी माध्यम मानता है। आज स्पेस टेक भारत में गवर्नेंस का भी हिस्सा बन रहा है। फसल बीमा योजना में सैटेलाइट बेस्ड आकलन हो, मछुआरों को सैटेलाइट से मिल रही जानकारी और सुरक्षा हो, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट हो, या पीएम गतिशक्ति नेशनल मास्टर प्लान में जियो स्पेशियल डेटा का इस्तेमाल हो। आज स्पेस में भारत की प्रगति सामान्य नागरिकों का जीवन आसान बना रही है। इसी दिशा में केंद्र और राज्यों में स्पेस टेक का इस्तेमाल बढ़ाने के लिए कल नेशनल मीट 2.0 का आयोजन भी हुआ है। मैं चाहूंगा ऐसे प्रयास आगे भी चलते रहें, हमारे स्पेस स्टार्टअप भी नागरिकों की सेवा के लिए नए सॉल्यूशंस दे, नए इनोवेशंस करे। मुझे विश्वास है आने वाले समय में अंतरिक्ष में भारत की यात्रा नई ऊंचाइयों को छुएगी। इसी विश्वास के साथ आप सभी को एक बार फिर नेशनल स्पेस डे की बहुत बहुत बधाई। धन्यवाद।
That was an inspiring message from our Honorable Prime Minister, envisioning space as the high frontier of India's growth story, a path of self-reliance, innovation, and a source of inspiration for every citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a video which showcases India's remarkable advancements since the maiden National Space Day on August 23, 2024, highlighting zonal events across the nation and the growing role of space technology as a catalyst for governance and progress. Let's take a look at this audio visual.
23rd August 2023 was a red-letter day in the Indian space program when the Vikram lander soft-landed near the southern polar region of the moon.
23 अगस्त को जब भारत ने चंद्रमा पर तिरंगा फहराया, उस दिन को अब हिंदुस्तान नेशनल स्पेस डे के रूप में मनाया जाएगा।
The first National Space Day was celebrated throughout the nation on 23rd August 2024 with participation from ministries, industries, startups and academia. Since the last Space Day in 2024, the country has witnessed new milestones in the space sector. During the period, more than 200 significant achievements have been accomplished. Prominent among them include innovative missions such as the Space Docking Experiment, 100th launch from Shar GSLV F-15, first Indian aboard the International Space Station, and joint ISRO-NASA NISAR mission. ISRO continued its focus on readying the semi-cryogenic engine, testing and integration of Gaganyaan hardware, and construction of SSLV launch complex. The government has also greenlit the development of the Super Heavy Lift rocket and the third launch pad TLP at Sriharikota, marking the dawn of a new era for India's space ambitions. The year also witnessed laurels in space science and exploration, with Aditya-1 capturing the first image of solar flare kernel in lower solar atmosphere, key insights on lunar data, and discovery of new exoplanet. In the field of space applications, some noteworthy achievements include the release of National Database for Emergency Management 5.0, development of new yield model for farmer claim settlements, and new method of measurement of soil moisture and ocean winds using GNSS reflectometry. In times of national need, the space assets have provided vital support towards ensuring safety and security of our citizens. The past year has witnessed tremendous growth in private space sector capabilities, aided by InSpace. Schemes such as the Seed Fund Scheme, PIE program, and pricing support have been rolled out by InSpace. Several enterprises have started working towards building and operating their own satellites and testing subsystems of their launch vehicles. InSpace has also successfully transferred technology of ISRO's small satellite launch vehicle to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. The past year has also witnessed several laurels from the New Space India Limited, NSIL, the state-run public sector enterprise under the Department of Space. These include realization of the high-throughput satellite GSAT N2, launch of Proba 3 mission of the European Space Agency, and developments towards the launch of PSLV N1. Our global leadership in space domain touched new heights with the successful conduct of Global Space Exploration Conference GLEX 2025 in May 2025, the largest global IAF conference ever held. Noteworthy outreach events of ISRO include Yuvika program for high school students and NE Sparks program for students from Northeast. To reassess the user needs for the future and for greater role of the private sector, the Government of India held the National Meet 2.0 in 2025. Towards this, more than 300 meetings were held with user departments since June 2025, developing next-generation instruments and missions, boosting industry participation, and embedding innovations are the major recommendations that emerged through the user interactions. Towards the National Space Day 2025, a month-long series of events including conferences, exhibitions, talks, open houses, quizzes, Bharatiya Antariksh Hackathon 2025 and ISRO Robotics Challenge 2025 have been successfully conducted. These activities reflected the year's theme, Aryabhatta to Gaganyaan, Ancient Wisdom to Infinite Possibilities. This whole-of-nation approach towards building the space sector is powering India's ambitions and driving progress from farms to frontiers. It safeguards lives, strengthens the economy, and bridges the digital divide. In the vast silence of space, it fuels the heartbeat of Vikshit Bharat. Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan.
These achievements remind us that every orbit we reach and every frontier we cross brings us closer to a future where India's space story touches lives here on Earth while reaching for the stars. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now take a look at highlights from National Meet 2.0 held yesterday, August 22nd, 2025. This landmark gathering brought together policymakers, scientists, industry leaders, and innovators to chart the next chapter of India's space applications and governance. Let's take a look.
Since beginning, India's space program has been more than rockets, satellites, and planetary missions. It's been about empowering people, improving lives, and shaping a better future. In 2014, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi urged for enhancing the use of space technology in governance and development. In 2015, during the first ever Mega User Meet, Honorable Prime Minister gave his vision on effective use of space technology for national development. Space technology has now become integral input for major flagship programs. 10 years after the Mega User Meet of 2015 or National Meet 1.0, India's space sector, both government and private, has grown significantly. To reassess the use needs for the future and for greater role of the private sector, Government of India decided to hold National Meet 2.0 in August 2025. Towards this, nearly 300 meetings were held with user departments since June 2025. Nearly 90 documents spanning 5,000 pages have come out as a result of this 3-month-long exercise. ISRO, Department of Space, is thankful to secretaries and senior officials of central ministries and departments, state governments and union territories for their unwavering support and wholehearted involvement in this process. The inputs from the user interactions are used in preparing the roadmap for space and ground infrastructure for the next 15 years, covering the domains of Earth observation, communication and navigation. In terms of satellites, 100 plus satellites need to be released over the next 15 years to meet the user requirements. Nearly 70% of these are in the small satellite class, thereby presenting opportunity for multiple satellites per launch. Implementation will be taken up such that government focuses on technology development missions, while operational missions are realized through private industry and public-private partnerships with active participation of InSpace, NSIL and NGEs. The document which is being submitted today summarizes the mission plan for 2040. Aligning with the vision for Viksit Bharat, we hope for a future where space technology secures our food, water, environment, protects us from disasters and sustainable growth for all. Together, we will march towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Jai Hind.
And ladies and gentlemen, we now move to a symbolic moment, the formal handover of the outcome report of National Meet 2.0 to the Honorable Minister of State for Space by Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space. And to join in for this handing over ceremony, I also invite Shri Nilesh Desai, Director, Space Applications Center and Chair of the Apex Committee for National Meet 2.0. Also, Dr. Prakash Chauhan, Director, National Remote Sensing Center and Chair of the Program Management Council for Space Applications, please. May I now request Dr. V. Narayanan, Secretary, Department of Space, to kindly hand over this report to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, the Honorable Minister of State for Space. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause. The deliberations of National Meet 2.0 reinforce the inclusive collaborative vision for harnessing space across every sector, a vision that strengthens India's march towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you very much. Thank you, esteemed dignitaries. I thank Shri Nilesh Desai and I thank Dr. Prakash Chauhan as well. Thank you, Honorable Minister. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we now present a short film on Chintan Shivir 2025, a platform for reflection, ideation, and charting the next frontier of India's space journey. So let us now first take a look at this short film.
In pursuit of the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's visionary directive to elevate India's space aspirations, the Department of Space convened a landmark 2.5-day workshop, Chintan Shivir 2025, from July 16th to 18th, 2025 in the vibrant city of Visakhapatnam, a bold step toward shaping the nation's celestial future. The primary strategic driver behind the DOS Chintan Shivir initiative was to develop a concrete action plan for implementing the Viksit Bharat 2047. The overarching theme for the event was implementing Space Vision 2047 and looking beyond. To envision the Space Vision 2047 and looking beyond towards the 100th year of the Indian space program. Around 350 key officials participated during the deliberations, including teams from ISRO, NSIL, InSpace, administrative wings of the department and the other autonomous bodies. At the helm of this extraordinary initiative stood the dynamic leadership of Chairman ISRO, Secretary DOS, Dr. V. Narayanan. 11 areas were identified for intense deliberations in the form of breakout sessions. The 2.5-day session has set the direction to harness the benefits of space technology for national development, along with targets for an exponential growth of the Indian space ecosystem, space applications, space infrastructure, space transportation systems, human spaceflight and capacity building in the short term, mid-term and long term. The Chintan Shivir deliberations helped to assess the current gaps in the EO capabilities in supporting the application requirements and a roadmap of EO applications in the domains of ecosystem and food security, atmosphere and environment, climate, hydrology and cryosphere, and disaster risk reduction was chalked out. That is expected to position India as the global leader in Earth observation. The roadmap for satellite communication program aims to provide seamless connectivity, enhance network resilience and redundancy, broadband access extending to global locations by adoption of new technological solutions, including sovereign NGSO constellation. The Indian Navigation System, NAVIC, is proposed to be extended towards multiple orbits, enabling global coverage, meeting both civilian and strategic needs. A series of space science and exploration missions to destination within and beyond the solar system are planned that will complement the global space exploration efforts and also enrich the Indian space science ecosystem involving academia and research institutions. The Bharatiya Antariksh Station is poised to become a hub of scientific activity. The space applications require a robust space infrastructure, including satellite assets. The Chintan Shivir recommended the establishment of a secure, robust Bharatiya Global Grid, Bharatiya Akhand Sanchar Pranali, to deliver on-demand Earth observation data, and a Bharatiya Sarvatra Vishwa Darshini for precise navigation and resilient communication services at a global scale. This requires a whole-of-nation approach involving the private sector to build the satellites with the required capacity. The strategic space assets essential for national security over the long term in the backdrop of the evolving geopolitical scenario was also deliberated and embedded in the roadmap. The timely deployment of the space infrastructure planned in the next decade and beyond requires both higher capacity and payload capability for the space transportation systems. The Chintan Shivir outlined a roadmap including the prioritization of the development of a human-rated launch vehicle for crewed lunar missions to achieve the first Indian human lunar landing by 2040, along with cutting-edge propulsion technologies, cost-effective space access with fully reusable launch vehicles and hypersonic vehicles. In the area of human space exploration and habitation, the technology thrust up to 2047 will be towards enabling longer duration human spaceflight missions in LEO, missions beyond LEO to cislunar space, establishing an Indian lunar habitat with capabilities of sustaining short or medium stay on lunar surface. Beyond 2047, the roadmap primarily focuses on achieving capabilities for Earth-independent operations in cis-Martian space as well as Mars surface habitation. The fulfillment of these objectives require the concurrent establishment of the related ground infrastructure, skill development, academic or industry partnerships and productive international collaboration, launch infrastructure, propulsion test facilities and capacity development in new areas such as bioastronautics. The changes required in organizational policies and human resources towards meeting the outlined space vision were discussed along with avenues in space business and diversification plans. Chintan Shivir 2025 has provided a blueprint for planning our space missions, industrial capacity, academic growth, and over the next 3 decades. Space will definitely be a significant driver for our Atmanirbhar Viksit Bharat 2047.